So you guys can study this position. Come in this way. Okay. So next thing, so we're going to look at the open guard, but we're going to look at the same way to break the frames, but now we're going to look at the folding pass. All right, the folding pass is a great way to disrupt your opponent's like guard retention and guard response, and really off balance them and really make a disengagement to re-engagement. So what does that mean? Anytime you disengage from the guard, you want to attack. When I say attack, I don't mean it like attack a submission. I mean attack of aggressive passing position. So for example, if I'm in this open guard, go back to this open guard, please. Yeah, if I'm in this open guard and I do everything right to disrupt it and I disengage, I don't want to stay in front of him because he's going to have time to recover his guard. And so we go back and I'm back in his guard. So go back to the position. Anytime I disengage, right, aggressively attack to a pass. It doesn't matter what pass. This is where you all are now experienced enough to use your creative mindset to come up with positions that's going to favor your body type and your personality too. Some people who are like aggressive like to train aggressively, and that's fine. Some people who are very calm and passive like to roll slow, and that's okay too. You have to embrace kind of your instinctive characteristics, both physically and even emotionally. People don't think that jiu-jitsu is emotional, psychological. It's a lot of that stuff. So as we get into this position, we're going to do the same thing. Use our elbow, grip really tight on the lapel. Right now I'm in what we call like a far distance type position. My hips are away. Very hard for me to get submitted, but I can get swept. So you see this a lot in competition, right? Use the elbow, use the knee, walk around, disrupt the frame off the hip, okay? Now from here, I'm going to disengage, walk back, extend my bicep, and turn. And as I turn, I can start to press. Now, when I'm pressing his legs down, I can switch my grip, and I can pass this way. If he holds on, right, and he does that really good guard retention response, I like to hold on. I like to go this way, and I hop to the other side. Bring my knee in, close collar, and pass. All right? So I'm disengaging to re-engage immediately. I'm not wasting time or energy. Also, I'm not using strength. I'm using technique. I'm timing. As soon as I disengage, I go. Sometimes I see students, again, they're explosive. They're grinding their teeth. You're doing it wrong. You have to wait for the time. I can't force this disengagement, right? So as we get into this position, I'm holding tight so he doesn't lasso or create a really good guard response. Using my elbow, my knee. I walk around, right? Disengage, and look, I go. Now I know he can recompose the guard. So as he sits up to recompose the guard, I walk all the way to the other side, heavy cross face, and I can start to focus on securing the position and start attacking. So we're doing the same thing as before, but now we're using it to do the folding pass, okay? Years ago, people would just fold, switch, pass like I did the first time. That doesn't work as much. Now, jiu-jitsu has evolved to where students are very good at their guard retention. So when you do that, they recompose the guard, they frame, right, with the same arm. They lasso. So you have to be ready to counter their response. Does that make sense? Any questions? Everyone feels pretty good? Okay, one more time. Okay, let's do it one more time. So I want you to start thinking of this in terms of concept. Of course, learn the technique, but start really thinking about what you're doing when you're passing. His goal is to off-balance me, to make me uncomfortable. My goal is to do the same to him. Obviously not off-balance him, but to make him uncomfortable, to disengage any sort of frame or attachment, and then to immediately re-engage my passing. So you have to learn how to be aggressive, but with technique, not with strength. All right, so we come back, have the same thing, elbow, knee. Look, I'm just gonna step to the side to break off that grip. When I come back, I just walk a little bit to disengage, and then I go. If he does this, I start walking this way. And we're actually gonna get to that question too, if he does really flatten out. For now, we're gonna stay here. Look, if I do the old school, he's gonna be able to frame and recompose the guard, right? Exactly. So when I disengage to re-engage and he frames, I start coming back this way. Get a deeper cross face and flatten them out. And make sure you push this down. Okay, let's do it, guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, so a very good question. Do we do this position if I can go knee cut? To answer that question, it depends, like I always answer. If you can go knee cut, go knee cut. If you don't want to go knee cut, you don't have to. If he has these grips, right, and I'm able to cause some sort of disconnect and separation, of course, if he lets me come in, I can go to knee cut. This is usually when he doesn't let me come in. His hips are elevated, I grab to the outside, I disengage, and I pop off. Now, I can still do this even if he does allow me to go knee cut. This is a really good position. The next scenario is, what happens if he flattens out? What does that mean? Instead of framing, he basically abandons his frame and then he just hip escapes into me. Go ahead.
Into you?
Into me, yeah. So hip escape, no, hip escape, your butt, yeah, and we're here. If this, and then he can lasso or whatever, right? Go ahead. So now I'm in a bad position here. So from the beginning, when I disrupt this disengagement, right? Elbow, knee, I back up and I disengage and I see him flatten out. Go ahead. As he flattens out, I follow. I start walking back and I shoot my knee into leg drag. I drop my elbow. This frame can no longer do anything. The reason I can't do anything from that position is because I've trapped his hips. So I'm here now. So even if he tries to frame, it's very tough. Now look, he still has a really good frame and I can do several options. But what I want to really focus on from here is using my elbow, my knee, my hip, and my head as units to disrupt this frame. Grab the back of his belt or his pant as he's pushing. Look what I do with my head. Comes in and starts trapping. Grabbing tight. If he turtles, I get the back. If he flattens out, I stay on top. So I'm using a more practical approach to this position, right? He's here. Now let's say from the beginning he pulls his guard and he doesn't have a foot on the hip. When he goes foot on the hip, go ahead. I don't let him. See, I always stay cautious. I peel off the grip. And let's say I know, for example, Mike is very good, right? So he has a good guard. So I might go immediately to the leg drag. I don't even let him hip escape. I start going here. As I move, my knee goes to the bottom, my elbow replaces, and now I stay very, very tight. Now I could abandon, and look, he's gonna frame. If I try to be stubborn, he's gonna win this. So I have to really go ahead and frame. I have to really be tight. Look, see how my elbow's still tight? Watch, I walk. I keep following him. And I look down. Grab, now look at what my head does. I just turned him so y'all could see. Does that make sense? So we're using our elbow, our knees, our head to maneuver. I'm being reactive. I'm going all the way to leg drag, so I don't have to mess with his guard retention. Because he does have a good guard. His legs come up, they get really annoying, then you gotta disrupt. So instead of thinking of standing position to side control, some people will go, hey, Toriando, side control. They get swept, they get submitted, or they just have a frustrating time. Think of standing to side control and everything in between. Sometimes less is more. I have to go back, be patient, right? This is why sometimes the big fights, the black belt matches are boring because they're both tactically trying to advance position. So instead of trying to pass right away, be patient. Go back to leg drag, hold the pant, drop the elbow, and really stay low and use your head around the frames. Does this make sense? Any questions? Yes?
After he's framing, you duck your head underneath the frame. And are you thinking, if he's going to turtle, you're getting the back? Are you thinking, if he stays flat, I'm going to go mount? Or are you trying to set something up from there? Or are you waiting for him to react?
So either or. This is a question of preference. Personally, like if he turtles, the back is going to be the easier choice, and it's the end game. Like if you see the high-level black belts, they like the back. If he doesn't turtle, then you go with what you can. Personally, I've also seen more attacks from north-south side control than mount, because at the high level, mount is very hard to retain. It's easier to retain side control. So you can either be reactive, hold the position. You can start to impose your game, maybe block his hand that he was framing, block it, start attacking the other arm. So like once we're here, and I just passed, I beat his frame. Let's say I beat his frame, I came in, I can start attacking now. There's the arm bar, you all see it, right? You know, I can start going knee on belly. If he uses this to frame, right, I can start attacking that arm as well. So I can definitely impose my game and throw some jiu-jitsu jabs, right? Like really start attacking. I can wait to see what he does. It depends on the match, right? This is more, you see this a lot in competition. If this was MMA, the leg drag would be a lot different. Obviously, I don't have the grips. I can stay low. You want your knee on the ground so you don't get up kicked, right? Because if you can get up kicked, very dangerous. And you can still use the same approach to pass those frames. But to answer your question, jiu-jitsu is very reactive, so I personally prefer the reactive side. But if you want to kind of throw some options, arm bar, straight arm bar, there's a basic judo choke, bread cutter, or what have you. Okay, so good question though. Anyone else? You guys want to see one more time? Okay, so I'll show this side. So we have his grips, my collar grip, and we're here. Okay, so look, I start to disrupt his frames. I grab, I step back, use my bicep. Look at how he's turning to a side, which is great. This is a great response for the guy on bottom. So then I walk back and go this way. Drop my knee, drop my elbow, and stay very tight. If he stays holding onto his frame, you're fine, because there's not much you could do because of this. So usually, he has the right response. Exactly. He's framing here because that's the priority now. When he does that, I grip and look at my head. I look the other way. I switch my hip while maintaining control of his legs and go. Just be careful if I get trapped. I can start coming back this way. And whenever I feel he has like some sort of grip, then I come back and go the other way. So if I stay here and he tries a loop choke, come back this way and pass very similarly to what we did the first time. Okay.
The only difference is which collar I have. This one, you're free to weave the head.
Yeah, exactly.
The other side is going to
Exactly. So depending on what no matter what, use your head here. If he goes back for this grip, you're fine. This is what I would do. I would go back this way, and so he doesn't loop choke, I'd come back here and then pass and then make a deeper cross face. So you're using the second position back to the first. Okay, let's work this last one and then we'll roll. All right, 1, 2, 3.